So I belong to Delhi. I'm a BCom graduate from Shriram College of Commerce, post which I have around 1 years of entrepreneurial work ex. Then I gave CAT. So I gave CAT 2019, which was my second attempt. And I scored an overall of 98.44 percentile, of which I scored 99.76 in quant section. I received calls from all major IIMs and I joined IIM Bangalore. And currently I am in my second year. Yeah. So specifically speaking for quant, so I think there are three main pillars for cracking quant section. So many people are aware of the first two, that is speed and accuracy. But I think the third and the most important part is the strategy. And I think that is the most important for quant and something that actually people tend to neglect. And what people try to do is that they try to make someone else's strategy theirs. And I think this is the biggest blunder anyone can make. Your strategy has to be your own. You need to sit down, realize what is your strength, what is your weakness, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and devise a tailor-made strategy for yourself. I think till the time you don't do this, probably you will be running someone else's race or some running or living someone else's life. Don't do that. Everyone has their own capabilities, their own strengths. I think the first thing you need to make absolutely clear is form a strategy that is tailor-made according to your needs and your requirements. Then the question obviously comes as to how to make the strategy. So there are multiple ways to make a strategy. One can be just going with the preparation, trying to find out the topics you are comfortable with and you're not comfortable with. Other method can be giving as many marks as you can, then try to find out from the score and from the analysis as to, okay, this is something that I'm good at, this is something I'm not good at, this is something that has been working consistently, and this is something probably which is probably working, but I'm not very comfortable or something I cannot do for a long run, and hence I don't feel comfortable in that shoe, and I need to change that. So keep changing it till the time you find that right spot where you think that, okay, this is something that will work for me, this is something that sits right underneath my strengths and my weaknesses, and this is something that I can actually follow. What people do is that people set unnecessary or probably they try to have sort of limits or sort of targets which are kind of unreachable or difficult to achieve for a long run. So I think that needs to be made sure that whatever strategy that you are applying, you're able to perform it or continue with it consistently along the mocks that you go. So I think coming to the section-wise practice for quant, so there are majorly five sections that are covered. The arithmetic is there, then geometry, algebra, modern maths, and number system. So my recommendation to people will be to start with arithmetic. I think arithmetic is a section which has the highest number of questions when it comes to a CAT paper. It's something that is sort of people have already done in their previous educations, and this is something people generally feel comfortable to start with because the difficulty level is not that high, and it's easier to relate to concepts like averages, simple compound interest, time, speed, distance. So it's a topic which probably is universal. I think everyone feels comfortable starting it. Also, the it might look easier, but the course is vast, and it takes a lot of practice to get hold of this topic. And I've seen a lot of people who have done arithmetic well and have just on the basis of that have scored well in CAT. So I think so for a good foundation for quant, I think the best way to start is through arithmetic. Then you should shift to geometry. Geometry again is something which almost all of the points you must have studied in your ninth and 10th. Probably for engineers, you must have studied in your later courses as well. This is something I think for geometry, the main thing that you have to do is visualize. What people do is that they are not able, after they see all these polygons and all these angles and lines, people are not able to visualize. So I think the main thing for geometry is try to visualize what's happening. what the angles is, what the angles are making, what the shape is. Try to find symmetry in these points. And believe me, when you start visualizing, you'll you'll feel that it becomes a lot easier to sort of simplify the question for you, or sort of answer the question, or try to find out what the question is saying. Because a lot of what's happening is that you might not get the figure in the question, and just a statement is written, for example. So it's very important that you have that habit that you can visualize what is to be made out of that line, and how it is to be put in a figure or a diagram, and then start solving the question. Also, again, the course is vast, and there are a lot of questions from geometry which comes in CAT. I think this should be third one. The next is algebra. Algebra is sort of, I'll personally, for me, I'll put it slightly on a trickier side as compared to arithmetic and geometric. That's why after geometry and arithmetic, I'm putting algebra. And by the time you'll reach algebra, you will sort of start feeling comfortable with numbers and doing questions, because anyways, arithmetic and geometry must have commanded a lot of practice. So you sort of already in the flow, and when you go in the algebra section, it sort of becomes easier for you to get a hold of it. Uh, then after algebra, I'll say start with modern maths, because a lot of topics from the modern maths are sort of related to the concept that we have been taught in algebra. So I think so the best way is to complement is for them to complement each other when you are practicing. People tend to start with modern maths, but I'll say doing it after algebra sort of provides your base foundation of the for few of the topics and concepts already. And I think the last section that you should go for is number system. And there are obvious reasons for it, because the one is the course is vast. I mean, you will go on practicing, but the course would end. And even if you're done with the course, you'll always find some or the other question which is completely new in your mock. So what I realized and analyzed was that maybe a lot of questions are asked from the number system in your mock exams or the section papers, but you won't find a lot of it in the actual CAT, and you can actually see them throughout the years 2017, 18, 19, 20, whenever the CAT papers have been made public. You realize that this section is something that was probably given a lot of importance probably a decade back, but you won't find a lot of questions from this part in today's CAT paper. So I'll say that probably if you want to go for this section, probably go for it. That's why I'm saying go for it at the end. Don't leave it. I'll say at least if you have a lot of time left, I'll say do the entire thing. If you have slightly lesser time left, I'll say probably not go through the entire thing. Just do the basics part, because at least if a simple question comes in the exam, you're able to crack it. But more often than not, from this section, if a question comes, it's not going to be of a easy. It's more going to be of a moderate on a difficult scale, and the accuracy also goes for a toss in this specific section. So I'll strongly recommend for you to go and do this in the end. Do the basics part. If you're not able to still crack it, I'll say don't worry about it. Even I left it. So I mean, at the end, it's fine. Uh, so yes, I think it's true that a lot of non-engineers do feel that they're at a disadvantage, or they feel that probably the engineers have uh, kind of a head start in the quant section, because they feel that they don't have a comparative strong background in quants. Probably many students have not even studied mathematics after 10th. So personally, what I felt is that the level of quant that comes in the exam, I don't think personally it's mostly elementary. Very few basics concepts come which were taught in 11th, 12th. Majority of the concepts that come are till 10th only. So I think so. What people do feel that they are engineers, they're probably good at maths, they've studied everything. More often than not, it's going to happen that probably you have also studied all the courses. It's just the mindset or the attitude probably that you're carrying, which is probably dragging you back and not allowing you to achieve your full potential. All right. So I think so just get that fact straight, that it's not like they have studied everything and you have not studied everything, you have studied nothing. It's not like that. You have also studied the same course in 10th. So now, how to create that differentiation? Obviously, if they have studied the same course, you have studied the same course, how will the differentiation comes? The differentiation comes in the difficult questions. So when you are giving a quant, obviously there's simple questions, there are moderate questions, and there are difficult questions. The difference might come in the difficult questions part, but I feel for the easy and the moderate question part, I don't think there's going to be a lot of difference. What you can make up for the lack of ability to difficult questions with your speed and accuracy in the simple and moderate questions. Personally, what I did was I tried not to do a lot of difficult questions right from the practice. So what made me realize was that I was able to put all my focus on the easier and the moderate questions. That's why whenever I encountered one in the exam, I was straight away able to realize that this is a difficult question or this is not a difficult question. If a difficult question is coming, I'd probably just skip it because I don't want to waste 5-10 minutes solving on a question and probably which I'm not able to even going to get right. I'll probably go for a simpler question which sort of suits my strengths. So this is something that I think people need to realize, that if you think that no, you're not an engineer, you're not going to do well in quant, that's a myth. You still can do it, still can do well. Just you have to get that strategy right. You just have to play to your strengths, and if as long as you do that, I'm sure you'll do wonders. Yeah, so personally, I think it's important to remember that everyone is a unique individual. And just I think just in my case, I think probably I am where I am today because my needs were realized at the right time. They were honed in the right direction, and I was provided the right guidance, right leadership, uh, right way of thinking, probably at the exact time when I needed. And I think this is a make or break for any student or any aspirant, not just for CAT, but for all around the world. And personally, I think this is where our EduShastra team is doing wonders. Uh, their personalized way of teaching every student as per his needs and wants is something which probably is the need of the hour. People don't generally realize is that uh, your so what your skill is, you need to be taught in that way. I think that is very important. People feel that no, I'm not very good in maths, but I want to sit along with all the engineers and do the same problems that they are solving. It might work, but it might not. And people need to realize that the might not working part is more often than not going to be true. So I think so. What's important is that you need to be directed in the right way, something, a strategy, a tailor-made strategy, which is right for you and not for what people think around you is right for you. I think that is very important. It's very important that the team teaches you in such a way that you feel comfortable with the topic, and when you do feel comfortable with the topic, only then you move on. It should not be a lackluster system where probably you're not able to understand or grasp the entire concept, and but you're still just moving on for the sake of completing the course. I think that is the stupidest strategy anyone can follow. So taking the right time, making sure that you're comfortable with this topic. Okay, you know what the in and outs of this topic are, then moving on. I think that is very important. Then I think the market right now discourages sort of uh, people from slightly tier 2 or tier 3 cities because the fees is actually very high for these institutions. I think this is also a very good initiative by the EduShastra team, where they are trying to bring a change and trying to reduce the prices so that it is affordable for everyone and sort of builds a credibility that they're trying to bring a change, and they are taking every necessary step to make sure that you achieve your potential and you realize that everyone is a genius in some or the other aspect.